Have you ever wondered how deep the impact of domestic abuse can travel, extending beyond physical harm to mental health, specifically causing depression? This is a question that isn't asked enough, but it's a conversation we need to have. Domestic abuse is not just about the visible scars, it's also about the invisible ones that etch themselves into the psyche, leading to conditions like depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even complex post-traumatic stress disorder. This video serves as a beacon, shedding light on the often overlooked mental health implications of domestic abuse, aiming to educate and raise awareness about this critical issue. We'll unravel the complexities of domestic abuse, from the different types to the sense of helplessness and hopelessness it can instill, and how these experiences can result in mental health disorders. We'll also explore recovery paths with and without medications. Knowledge empowers us to act, so let's dive into understanding the various types of domestic abuse and their potential mental health impacts. Domestic abuse, unfortunately, takes on many forms, some more visible than others. It's crucial to understand that the face of domestic abuse is not always marred by physical violence. It is a complex issue that extends beyond the physical realm, deeply entwining itself into the emotional, financial, and sexual aspects of a person's life. Let's start with physical abuse, the most visible form of domestic violence. This could involve actions such as hitting, slapping, or any other form of physical harm. However, bruises and scars are just the tip of the iceberg. The unseen pain often runs much deeper. Emotional abuse, for instance, is an insidious form of cruelty that can be just as damaging, if not more so. It involves humiliation, constant criticism, and degradation that can shatter a person's self-esteem. It often leaves invisible yet deeply etched scars on a person's psyche. Financial abuse, on the other hand, is an often overlooked form of domestic abuse. It involves controlling a person's ability to acquire, use, and maintain financial resources. This form of abuse can leave a victim feeling trapped, unable to leave due to financial dependency. Sexual abuse, while being physical in nature, is another form of domestic abuse that often gets overlooked. It involves any unwanted sexual activity forced upon a person. It's not just about the physical act, but also about the exertion of power and control. Each type of abuse is a tool of control, a way to exert power over another person. The effects of these types of abuse are far-reaching, impacting not just the victim but also those around them. The repercussions are not just physical, but also psychological, leading to conditions such as depression, anxiety, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. As we can see, domestic abuse can be insidious, making it even more critical to understand its effects on mental health. It's not just about the visible signs, but also about the hidden wounds that run deep within the psyche of the abused. Now, let's explore how these various forms of domestic abuse can lead to depression and other mental health issues. Imagine a garden, a beautiful, vibrant space full of life. Now picture a storm, unrelenting and harsh, attacking this peaceful sanctuary. This is what domestic abuse does to the mind. It turns a once safe space into a battleground, and the mental scars left behind can be as devastating as physical ones. Victims of domestic abuse often experience feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. They may feel trapped, unable to escape their abusers. This sense of entrapment can lead to depression, a mental health condition characterized by persistent sadness and a loss of interest in activities once enjoyed. In addition to depression, individuals who have suffered domestic abuse may develop post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. This condition can occur after experiencing a traumatic event, such as physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. Symptoms include flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety, all of which can severely disrupt a person's life. Alongside PTSD, there's also complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD. This form of PTSD occurs in individuals who have experienced prolonged, repeated trauma, often in a context where they feel powerless or unable to escape. It's not uncommon for victims of long-term domestic abuse to develop CPTSD. And then there's anhedonia. This is a condition where a person loses the capacity to experience pleasure. The joy they once found in activities they loved seems to vanish, leaving a sense of emptiness in its place. This is another potential consequence of living under the constant shadow of abuse. Each of these conditions, Depression, PTSD, CPTSD, and anhedonia are interconnected. They are the storm that wreaks havoc on the garden of the mind, turning vibrant colors to shades of gray. They are the aftermath of the storm, the lingering clouds that cast a long, dark shadow. It's clear that the effects of domestic abuse are profound, leading not only to depression, but to a range of mental health conditions. Yet, like any storm, these conditions can be weathered. The clouds can be cleared and the garden can bloom once again. But that is a discussion for our next scene. Often the pain of domestic abuse manifests in ways that might not seem obvious. You see, the emotional turmoil stemming from this form of maltreatment is profound, and its impact on the psyche is multifaceted. Victims of domestic abuse may experience outbursts of anger. This is not a sign of inherent hostility or aggression on their part, but rather a response to the unbearable distress they're enduring. It's a cry for help, an eruption of pent-up frustration and pain. These outbursts may seem sudden, unpredictable, even disproportionate to the trigger. But it's important to remember that they're not the cause, but a symptom of the deeper underlying issue. On the other end of the spectrum, silent suffering is another common reaction. Instead of outward expressions, some victims internalize their pain. They bear it quietly, often masking their turmoil with a facade of normality. This silent suffering can be especially damaging, leading to further mental health complications such as depression, anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure, and even post-traumatic stress disorder or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. These disorders are not just labels. They are debilitating conditions that can drastically affect a person's quality of life. They can cause victims to relive their trauma, experience intense fear or sadness, or feel detached from the world around them. It's crucial to understand that these reactions, the outbursts, the silent suffering, the mental health complications, they're not signs of weakness or an overreaction. They are normal human responses to abnormal and distressing experiences. They are survival mechanisms, the psyche's way of attempting to cope with the unimaginable. Recognizing these signs is the first step towards helping victims of domestic abuse. It allows us to empathize, to validate their experiences, and to extend the support they need. We must remember that domestic abuse is not just a physical or visible problem. It's an emotional one, a psychological one, and its echoes can linger long after the abuse has ended. Understanding these reactions is key to recognizing the signs of domestic abuse and its mental health impacts. Despite the darkness of domestic abuse and its mental health consequences, there is a path forward. Recovery from the effects of domestic abuse, be it the emotional turmoil, the psychological scars, or the physical wounds, is not a journey that one needs to walk alone. There are numerous methods of recovery available, and it's crucial to remember that each individual's journey to healing is unique. One of the most effective ways to begin this healing journey is by seeking professional help. Mental health professionals such as psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists are trained to help you navigate your feelings and thoughts. They can provide you with tools and strategies to cope with the aftermath of abuse, and if necessary, prescribe medications to manage symptoms of depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Medication, while not always required, can be an essential part of recovery for some. It can help manage overwhelming emotions and stabilize mood swings, making it easier to participate in therapy and daily life. However, recovery doesn't solely rest on professional help and medication. A strong support network is equally important. Friends, family, or support groups can provide a safe space to share experiences, fears, and successes. They can offer encouragement, understanding, and compassion, which can make a world of difference in the healing process. Let's not forget the role of self-care in recovery. This isn't simply about bubble baths and spa days. Although those can certainly be a part of it, it's about relearning how to prioritize yourself, how to say no when you need to, how to nourish your body with good food, how to rest when you're tired, and how to engage in activities that bring you joy, even if it's as simple as reading a book or taking a walk in nature. Remember, recovery is not a race. It's okay to take small steps, and it's okay to have setbacks. The important thing is to keep moving forward, however slowly, because recovery is possible, and every step taken towards it is a victory. As we wrap up this discussion, let's revisit the key points we've covered. We began by shedding light on the different types of domestic abuse, an issue that often lurks in the shadows of our society. These abuses can manifest in various forms, from emotional to physical, financial to sexual, and can deeply wound the psyche of those who endure them. We then delved into the profound impact domestic abuse has on mental health. Survivors often grapple with feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, a crippling sense of dread that can spiral into depression. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, and its more complex variant, CPTSD, are common aftermaths of such harrowing experiences. They are characterized by recurring flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety that can interfere with daily life and activities. Outbursts, another symptom of these disorders, are not just expressions of anger or frustration. They are cries for help, manifestations of the intense emotional turmoil within. On the other hand, anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure, symbolizes the silent suffering many victims endure. Their zest for life gradually dimmed by their traumatic experiences. However, we also highlighted that the path to recovery, while challenging, is indeed possible. With the right help and support, survivors can rebuild their lives and regain their mental health. This could involve therapy, medication, or a combination of both, depending on the individual's needs and circumstances. The journey may be long and arduous, but every step forward is a victory in itself. So, as we conclude, remember that understanding these connections between domestic abuse and mental health is crucial. It's not merely about gaining knowledge, but about fostering empathy and compassion for those who have survived such experiences. It's about breaking the silence, challenging the stigma, and advocating for change. Remember, understanding is the first step to action. Let's continue to educate ourselves and others about domestic abuse and its mental health impacts. Has this video informed you more on depression, PTSD, and domestic abuse? If you feel empowered already, then tell us how this video has informed you better than before, and please subscribe to this channel. Kindly share your story on the comment section on how domestic abuse has impacted your life. It will help others. We are here to empower this community with each other's story. Pass on the touch by sharing this video with others. Save someone else on their recovery journey from their sufferings of hidden domestic abuse, from depression and PTSD. Thank you.